Hello everyone, this is Jack and this is the first video in my Devblog for my game Terrablox. In this video I'm going to showcase the old Terrablox as well as some community contributions for it and show you what we've got so far with the new Terrablox, so you have a contrasting view to it. Hope you enjoy. So this is the original Terrablox. As you can see, it has the basics such as destroying blocks and putting blocks back in. Shadows are directly downwards, but they can have translucency. As you can see, these are sort of almost soft shadows like that. The map itself is actually really small. It's like 64 meters squared, which is tiny. You can get from one end of it to the other pretty quick. You won't notice it. One good thing that Terrablox did have was the ability to have make your own texture packs and character skins. So I'm going to show you one of these now, which was made by someone from the community. It wasn't made by me, but because it's done in such a way that it's really easy for people to make their own things. So this is one of my favourites. I actually added it in by default because it's just so nice and clean, and it makes the vanilla game just look so much better. The community has given a lot in terms of texture packs, character skins and creations such as these things. These are all really cool. And papercraft, which is just mind-blowingly cool. So that was the old Terrablox, and this is a mock-up by our artist of what he wants the new one to look like. Maybe we can do that. But yeah, the community contributions were really important in the old one, and we want to keep that level of creativity with the new one as well, allowing people to add things to make it the game they want it to be. So that's a primary focus, and with that in mind I shall show you what we've got so far on the new Terrablox. So this is the new Terrablox. Now you'll see the same textures and everything, and some water. That's fake water, by the way. But one of the important things to note here is the soft shadows. This is something that I spent a long time trying to do, but it's really fast. Like the shadow casting, the game runs really fast. Like this is currently at 1000 frames a second, and that's not a joke. So it's a lot faster than the old one, and this isn't 64 by 64. This map is 512 by 512, which is about half a kilometer squared. So it's a huge space and fast as it can be, really. So yeah, there's no sort of defined, like before in the old Terrablox, like every cube had like dark faces, light faces, and that was sort of like a fake shadow. There's none of that now. Instead it's sort of this almost ambient occlusion sort of effect. So all the corners are sort of shaded, and as well as that, combined with the shadows, sort of gives it a more realistic look. So this is just one map I'm going to show you. This is sort of forest stream map. This is the first one I actually got working properly. So yeah, it was difficult getting height maps to work nicely, because this is reading directly from a height map, and when it comes to a world made out of blocks, they don't always convert so nicely. But the final game probably won't have this problem, as it won't be from height maps, it'll be procedurally generated. Okay, so I'm going to zoom right out here to give you a proper helicopter view. So yeah, this is being only half a kilometer. Your actual view distance in the final game will be a lot further, because it'll be procedural and you can go on forever and ever and ever, really. So yeah, that's Forest Stream. So this is another map I'd like to show you. It's called Mountainous Valley, and it's still half a kilometer squared, but it's slightly higher, as you can see from the mountains. It's 64 meters high, this map, which is about a 20-story building, and that's the mountains. It's also a valley. So yeah, this one is also red from a height map, and I didn't work as long on it, so it may be a bit sporadic and juttery. That's why you get these weird sort of columns just popping out everywhere. But it really does, like with the extra height, it really does show off the shadow casting. As you can see, like this point here is casting entire shadow on this peak, and as well as going all the way over there. And this huge mountain here, this is like the highest point, is casting a shadow all the way, actually probably from there, all the way down. But it's missing this because that's not hidden behind a point. So this, I think, really adds depth to the entire thing. And trees, oh, it might be a good point to show trees here. So trees, they will cast their shadows very far, depending on how high they are as well. Just like everything else. Like you see this tree here, its shadow doesn't end until it gets there, and that's just because it's high up as well. So this map, as I'm generating it at the moment, took about 54 seconds, which is a very long time. But that would be nothing in the final game. It won't do that at all because it will be separated into chunks, which will take less than a second at best, or at worst. So yeah, and the lighting. So the map took 54 seconds. The lighting took 300 milliseconds. It took no time at all. You know, this is like, can't even calculate it, like 512 by times 512 times 64, that's millions and millions and millions of cubes, and it took no time at all to do this entire shadow casting pass. No time at all. So when it comes down to doing that in chunks, that will be unnoticeable. You won't notice it at all. So the shadow casting is extremely cheap. Also, we plan to add, so like different blocks, you'll be able to add a shadow color. So when a shadow is cast onto it, it won't just be grayed out, it can be something else. So it could be like blue or red. So this is for when we have maps like deserts and snow. So you can just add that little bit more realism. So like snow would have a blue shadow, desert would have a red shadow, which just gives it a sort of individual effect. I don't know if we'll be having like translucent glass in colours or anything like that, so if light passes through it, the light changes colour. It might be possible in the future, I don't know. But we will be having coloured point lights and stuff like that. So you, like, if you added a torch there, it could be a green torch or a red torch or whatever torch. And oh yeah, seeing as this is a valley, at the moment the water is fake, so it's just like a single plane just whacked on the bottom there. But if you look at the map, you'll see like it's clear that the water should be flowing down there. So this is something I want to try and put in, like actual proper flowing water. But on this sort of scale, I mean, that is really, really difficult. Especially like if it was a 2D, like a normal height map with no like non-cube based, so it's basically just flat with height, it would be easy to add water like that. But as water is based in cubes and it has to collide with everything in the map, that's a lot of processing it would have to do that. But I'm going to try. It is doable, just really tricky to find an optimized way of doing it. So yeah, let's get another helicopter view here, because I really do love these maps. So yeah, this was Mountainous Valley. So this is the Dunes Desert. It's just lots and lots of rolling sand dunes with cacti here and there. Not as dense as trees. I mean, this is probably too dense as well. But deserts are going to be like the border regions. So you'll have all your interesting stuff in one sort of area, like your mountain valleys and your forest streams, that sort of thing. You know, the nice places you actually want to be. And around that will be large belts of desert that are kind of designed to be uninteresting. and potentially dangerous. Like we've had some pretty crazy ideas with what we can do with deserts, and one of them was like proper Dune style, like have giant worms that sort of jump around and try and eat you, or just jump around and have fun, whatever they want to do. But they would leave tunnels behind because they would be so huge. They would leave tunnels behind, and you would be able to explore these tunnels. And who knows, maybe they'd lead somewhere. I don't know. We've mostly been focusing on what the core engine can do and our primary focus is, rather than how all this stuff will actually come together at the moment. I'll explain more stuff in a sec because I kind of need reference images to get it through my head properly. But this is the rolling desert. I'll get the old helicopter view. This probably could have been a bit taller to get some more shadows in, but you can see it sort of does have nice rolling shadows. And deserts are supposed to be sort of places you'd get lost in. You don't want to give too many landmarks in it. So yeah, that's the Dune Desert. So those were some examples of the different types of maps we can have now and the sort of scale of them and other ideas of what sort of things the tech will provide. At the moment there's no player characters like there is in the old Terrablox. We will be adding these and they will be slightly different. I'll show you them now. So the characters in this one are actually going for a sort of papercraft look to start off with. And so here we have a boy and a girl, and these will be completely customizable as well. Like these two, little rock punk thing there, and some girl in a checked shirt. I have no idea what these are, but they're cute. And you will be able to design your own, like, obviously your character skins, as well as sort of modelling your own sort of hairstyles and other bits like that. The character walking animation will be like this, pretty simple, and I'm not sure about other animations yet, but they will need to be thought through. Things like, you know, attacking, digging, jumping was a popular one. Like Turboy used to sort of wave his hands in the air when he was falling, so I want those sort of things in this one as well. So that was characters, and another one of our focuses that I want to talk about is multiplayer, because it was kind of ignored in the last one. I mean, I was going to add it, but I was having technical difficulties with it. But in this one, there shouldn't be any difficulties. It should be a lot easier to do it. And I'm not going to go into all the details about multiplayer yet, because they're quite complicated, and I'd like to get, in later videos, I'd like to get sort of general gameplay stuff covered first. But one idea I will tell you about is player trading. So player trading will allow you to build your own items to put in the world and sell them to other players through some sort of auction system somewhere. We haven't thought that through yet, but there will be something like that. So you can build stuff, put them up for sale, and someone at any time could come along and buy it. So the start of this process is collecting blocks from the world and then breaking them down into some sort of smaller component piece. So when you've got those component pieces, you'll get a grid like this, in which you can place those component pieces into each one of these cells, you know, in any sort of shape you want, like this. So here we've sort of put some legs together, and then we've added a top to it. Then we've finished a table. So we can name this now. So we've called this Jack's table, and now we've got this, we can sort of save that off and say, okay, this is my item, and there'll only be one of them, and you'll be able to sell that onto a marketplace of some sort. I suppose you will be able to make recipes as well, I guess. So like if you make this once, you can sort of just kick off a recipe that says, okay, I want to make this again, and sort of do that as well. So that's another possibility. So yeah, that's what we have with that so far, item trading. I think that would be a good way of players interacting with each other through a proper trade system. And other than just small item trading, there's the possibility of sort of trading entire regions. So like, say you built a house on a chunk, for example, you would be able to sell the template for that house, and someone else could buy it and put that whole house into their world. So there's a lot of things we can do down that route, and I'll explain that better when we've got the gameplay stuff out of the way, and I can talk to you more about how managing a server will work, because that's very important with how this character trading stuff works as well, especially with the big stuff like houses. But you won't need to be on a server to actually do this stuff. Like, it would be the same as mods. So like, someone could build an item and put up some sort of template on some website somewhere, and you'd be able to download that and put it into your game. Same with like houses. You'd be able to take like a chunk of someone else's world and put it into your world, and so you'd be able to mod your single player games like that as well. So the multiplayer aspect of it is just to sort of incorporate it all into the game, so you don't have to go off to like external websites and do all that stuff. Like, search for what you want. You can find it all on the server that you're playing on. So that's the direction we're going with that. So it's sort of like modding, so you have the choice of modding in-game and out of game. So just make it more flexible for more people. So that's the conclusion to the first Terrablox devblog. I hope you found it informative, and I hope it gave you a good idea of what we're trying to do with this project. Basically, at this moment, we're trying to get it forward to a point where it's the same as the old Terrablox, just on a much grander scale. So all the functionality will be there, including modding, because modding is important, and it gets like people engaged with it, and they can do their own things. So that's very important. So that's the target for now. Hopefully I can get there pretty quickly, so you can do that straight away. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.